Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. Well, well, well. I don't know, man. This is just look, I like every single pick the Raiders have made so far because they all make sense and they're all an area of need. When you take a look at what the Raiders were needing, we needed a running back. We needed offensive line. We needed a defensive back. We needed wide receiver help. That's exactly what we got. And we got a type of player that's not only productive, but a good person, good off and on the field, hard worker, bulldog mentality. Every single one of them. And I'm ecstatic over what we've done so far. We didn't go any specific way. We took the ultra do everything dynamic running back. Okay. Super athletic, but also a great person. That's why he's the number 6 overall pick. He checked every single box. I think that in the second round, we're probably I feel like we were targeting Higgins with our second round pick. That's what I feel. And once Higgins got selected, we traded back, and then I'm thinking we were targeting Will Johnson. Will Johnson got picked ahead of us, and we went back again, and we ended up getting Jack Betch. Beck. I don't know how to say his name. I'm gonna call him Beck. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But damn, we're gonna get to all these picks. Don't worry, we'll get to everything. I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video. If you guys wanted to chat, if you guys want to comment on this video, you got to subscribe, man. That's a small ask from me to be able to be a part of the community. All right. So if you guys want to leave some comments or get involved in the chat, there's a lot of good people in the chat, man. A lot of good Raider Nation in the chat, and it may cost me some subscribers in the long run, but I'm okay with that because I want everyone who's in the chats, whether you agree with me or not, that's not the point here. I want everyone to have a little bit of skin in the game. And how much minimal skin can you have than just subscribing to a YouTube channel? All right. As far as the picks go, you have an ultra competitive. Basically, Jack Beck is Puka Nacua. That's who he is. They're right around. I think Jack Beck is like a quarter of an inch or a half an inch shorter, but that's how he plays. If you are not familiar with his game, that's who he is. He's a guy that's quicker than fast, but you don't see him get caught from behind a lot. He doesn't drop passes. He's an expert route runner. He blocks like a freaking lineman in the run game. And he's in this sense, he's very similar to a Brock Bowers. Remember when Brock Bowers came out and we're like, dude, he just catches the ball and just goes straight up field. Like he just always finds a way to catch it and go straight up field. That's Jack Betch. I don't know, dude. I'm really having trouble with this. But let's just call him Jack because Jack is just what we needed. We have a guy that's tough, that runs great routes, that catches everything around him, right? 50-50 ball battler, okay? Tested well. He's super fast, but we knew that. And he's a great blocker. These are all things that Pete Carroll needs, and these are all things that you need if you want to get going in the run game. You get the running back, check. You get a wide receiver that runs crisp routes, is a bulldog after the catch, and blocks really well, great hands. Okay, Jack, second round, check. Third round, if there's any more Pete Carroll player in this draft, you show him to me, okay? This kid He's only played corner for like, what is it, 7, 8 games, something like that. He was a wide receiver. He got moved to corner. Darian Porter. He got moved to corner. And I'll tell you what, man, this guy's a natural because he's only played corner a little bit. And he played really well. But the year that he wasn't playing because he was still learning the position, he did what he could to help the team. Which you can't ask for anything else from a teammate. You can't ask for anything else from a teammate. The tribe, whose routes are okay? Jack's or Puka Nakua's? I think his routes are pretty good. Damon, what's up, baby? How's it going? Okay, we can disagree. I think he's a little bit better than that, but Derek, we're going to get to that. Darian Porter ran a 4.3 40, is over 6'2", almost 6'3", 200 pounds, long, I think like 33-inch arms or something like that. The dude is a freak athlete. He hit the freak list. If you don't see Tyreek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon-esque in Darian Porter, look again. Because this is the type of guy that you want to have on your team. And Pete Carroll just finds ways to coach up corners. And if you have these kind of measurables, what do we talk about? And you guys, if any of you guys have been talking and listening to my content for any length of time, I said Pete Carroll has a type. For me, it's thick Latinas or Asian chicks. Pete Carroll has a type too. He likes them over 6 feet, long arms, and fast. That's his type. Bro, to get a Darian Porter at this point in the draft with his measurables, after only having played 7, 8 games in college at the position, even if, let's say, this first year he just plays a lot of special teams, which he blocked more kicks than anyone in the conference, you're getting a stud player. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Shedeur may be an option here. I wouldn't be crying if we got a Shedeur at like 98, 99. I'm not thrilled because I think you can get a Will Howard or something like this. Look, basically the NFL has spoken. They're like, we don't see you as a starting quarterback, so why are we going to waste a pick when we can get another guy that we see as a non-starter later on down the line? 5 quarterbacks is already gone. Friggin' Dylan Gabriel got picked. Dylan Gabriel's like 2 inches shorter than me. And he got picked. Tyson Hughes, yeah, tell him, baby, hit those likes, y'all. Come on. Hit those likes. And the lineman that we got, Caleb Rogers, it's about 6'4", a little bit, maybe a little bit more, 6'4" and change, about 315. Bully. Played all, but here's the thing that we got to take a look at here. Versatility. Caleb Rogers played everywhere. He played on the left side, the right side, outside, inside. With his build, he's probably going to be a guard, which is fine. But hey, man, in a pinch, he can go out there and play tackle. Because this guy's a bully. That's when I was talking to you guys about the run game getting better. There are certain things that Pete Carroll asks from his team. He loves long, fast corners. He likes smart, fast linebackers that can cover. He loves just animals on his defensive line, and he likes bullies in his offensive line. To him, it really doesn't matter, oh, he's got hip tightness or he's, not a natural bender. He doesn't give a crap about any of that. Are you mean? Are you a bully? Do you want to get people's faces and shove them into the dirt? That's Caleb Rogers, and that's for sure Charles Grant. Charles Grant is a wrestler. He knows how to use leverage, knows how to use his hands. Dude, everyone was like, oh, Charles Grant, William and Mary, blah, 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 this and that, all this other nonsense, right? He goes to the Senior Bowl. Dude, he's one of the better tackles there. Get him in your system. Give him some coaching. Coach the man up. He's going to play, both of these guys are going to play a big role this year. Mark my words. Maybe not right away, but once they get those coaching rolled up, these guys, these bullies are going to be in there. Imagine that. You got Glaze, you got Jackson Powers Johnson, you got now we're telling Colt Miller, hey, Colt Miller, you want to play games? You want to play games? Okay. We got these guys younger, cheaper, just as good. Charles Grant is Colt Miller to me. That's who he reminds me of. Big movement skills, good with his hands. What else do you want? These are picks that are all guys that could have gone higher, but they fell to us, and they just fit right. You're looking at these guys, you're like, oh yeah, Ashton Jeanty, yeah, that's a Pete Carroll type pick. Jack, that's a Pete Carroll type pick. Darian Porter for sure is a Pete Carroll type pick. Caleb Rogers, bully, played all along the line. Versatility on the line, yes. Charles Grant, super athletic, wrestler, mean streak, tackle, needs a little bit of work. Yeah, this is going to work. How about the fact that we traded down, still got a guy that we really wanted? Let's just say, for example, I was right. I'm not always right, but let's just say, for example, I was. Let's say they really wanted Jaden Higgins, and he got taken, so they traded back. And then they were targeting Will Johnson, and then he got taken, and they traded back again. Well, they ended up getting Jack and Darian Porter. I think that's a pretty good trade-off. Now, Jack is not a Jaden Higgins, but what if Jack becomes 85% of what Puka Nacua is? It's possible. He's got similar skill set. Darian Porter, what if he turns out to be one of the guys like a Reek Woolen? Pete Carroll's done that in the past. We can't put it by him. And then we get basically 2 free picks. We get 2 free offensive linemen. Because we only had 3 picks coming into the draft in the first 2 days. We ended up getting 2 free offensive linemen that are going to play, that are going to contribute. Charles Grant is one of the guys. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but Charles Grant is one of the guys that I highlighted as a sleeper pick in the middle rounds. He went a little bit earlier than I thought, but man, tackles are at a premium. And damn. What is not to like about this? Now, I'm not one to be like super pumped up and wanting to win the offseason, but you got to start somewhere. You sit back at 6, and one of the top 3, 4 players in the entire draft fall in your lap. So the same thing happened last year. One of the top 3, 4 players fell into our lap, and we took them. And Brock Bowers ended up being an absolute freaking stud. Ashton Jeanty, I see him being the same. This type of general manager work is vital to the success of your team. Because I'll tell you something right now. Too often, we've been the ones going up and reaching for guys. I like the Michael Mayer pick. Don't get me wrong. I really did. But Josh McDaniels and Ziegler, they didn't read the draft right. They didn't read the room right. They wanted Sam Laporta. Okay? Sam Laporta gets taken, and they're like, crap. we got to go up and we got to get a tight end, or else they're going to be gone. We got to replace Darren Waller somehow. So what do? Trade up and get Michael Mayer. Give up picks for it instead of having a better plan. The Raiders had a plan because they still ended up getting excellent players, and then they got 2 free players. They got 2 free ones. What am I missing here? What am I missing? Bro, can we talk about something really quick here? And I'm gonna try to play this as straight as possible, okay? Because I'm probably gonna try to be a little bit funny too. But how bad must have those interviews have been by Shedeur Sanders? Like, how bad were those interviews? Guys, tell me in the comments, how bad were these interviews? Dude, he's still available in the 4th round. You know who got picked in the first 3 rounds? A 2-time rapist got picked. A 5'9" quarterback. That guy from William and Mary, for Christ's sake. Those guys went off the board, and Shedeur Sanders is still there. How bad were those interviews? Holy smokes. And we got 2 4s, 3 6s, and a 6. We still got 4, 6 picks left? It's insane. And look, I'll tell you something right now. You guys may not know. There's still quite a few defense. I mean, I don't think we're going to get any more offensive linemen, but there's still a ton of running backs. A ton. There is a ton of running backs left still. A lot of running backs left. There's still some good depth at wide receiver. There's a ton of defensive linemen. For sure, there's a ton of good ones. We're probably not going to get any more offensive linemen, which is fine. All the mid-roundish, I'm pretty sure we're going to get Will Howard. Well, I almost said Will Smith. I don't want that fool either. We're going to get Will Howard probably in the 4th round. Probably with our second one, we'll get Will Howard. We're still dangling trade bait. Aiden O'Connell still being dangled out there. Michael Mayer still being dangled out there. I don't want to lose Michael Mayer. I think he still has a lot to offer, especially being a really good pass-catching blocker tight end. He's not dynamic. I mean, I don't think he's really dynamic at all. He doesn't create a lot of separation, but he's good at contested catches. He's good at quick routes. Aiden O'Connell, I just think the time has come. I hate to lose him. I think he's a good guy, but ultimately, I don't think he plays the style offense that Chip Kelly requires from his quarterback. So if one of these teams is out there like, man, I need a backup quarterback. I need a guy that can help my rookie. Not a bad move. But guys, we got 2 4s coming up. Don't worry about not having a 5th. Don't worry about that. Basically, our second 4th is a 5th round pick, basically. We got 2 4s, 3 6s, and a 7. I think we've done pretty good. Yeah, I don't think Renfro's coming back either. I think with the Jack pick, I think we're good. But dude, what is going on with Shedeur Sanders, bro? Did you guys hear that he got prank called? He got prank called, bro. Someone prank called him and said, "Hi, we're from this team. I just want to let you know that you need to wait a little bit longer." Woo! That's savage. That is brutal. That is some brutal work, right? That's brutality. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, to be honest with you. Jason Whitlock with the tweet of the day says, Colorado Football Hall of Famer Shedeur Sanders slides out of round 2. And he slid out of round 3, too. Holy smokes. This is some absolute insanity. It's a tough bit. It's a tough world out there, man. It's a tough world out there. And I think the Sanders family is finding out right now. If you're not a superstar player, they're not going to, the NFL is not going to put up with your nonsense. I think a lot of teams for a lot of years put up with Deion Sanders nonsense because he was an elite Hall of Fame, blocked Hall of Fame player. Well, now what's going down? He pulled all this nonsense. Oof. I'll tell you something, man. I almost feel bad. I almost feel bad for Shedeur Sanders. What was what nonsense? The Sanders nonsense? How he acted in his interviews? These are all the reports, and these are multiple reports. Deion Sanders saying that he's going to pull a Manning, and he's going to make sure he gets the, like, dude, you're not in the NFL. You're not. No, it was not one report. The tribe, get it together, big guy. It was more than that. It was more than that. Trust me. I don't know how long you've been listening to me, dude, but I'll tell you something right now. I'm not one to jump on and pile on unless it's like legit. I don't care about breaking stories, right? I'm not like on here 24/7. Okay. I'm not worried about breaking stories and being the first one to say something because I want to tell you guys the real. And when multiple people are saying that Shedeur Sanders was being foolish in his interviews and everything that Deion Sanders has been saying, your job is on the line as an executive in the NFL. Your job is on the line. And you have a dad, whoever he is, I don't care who he is, but you have the dad of one of the guys that you don't have highly rated anyway, saying that he's going to make sure that he goes to the right position. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Look, man, I wasn't in these interviews, okay? I don't know what was said or what wasn't said. But obviously, what was said didn't impress anybody in the NFL. What I do know is that Deion Sanders didn't do his son any favors. I'll tell you that right now. Because if you want to act like that, like Neon Deion, like prime time, if you want to act like that, you better play like him too. And I'll tell you something right now. Travis Hunter is more prime time than any of Prime's real kids. And he's the one that's acting like happy to be there and dancing and having fun. He wasn't the one talking. He wasn't out there acting a fool. So just goes to show you, if you're going to talk, you better be either already on a team or you better be looked at as a top guy. And I don't know that we can look back and we can say, yeah, they should have drafted him, because I'm never going to say that to anybody, because ultimately, when we're looking at stuff like that, it's not my job on the line. I like the guys that we picked today. I think they're great picks. But man, no one with any confidence can say that the reports of how bad those interviews went with Shedeur Sanders were just nonsense, were just false, were made up. Because his play on the field is much better than a 4th round pick. And we can say that with certainty. Now, I don't think that 32 teams would, conspire together to teach the Sanders family a lesson on humility. They probably wouldn't learn it anyway. But what we do know is Shedeur Sanders' talent is better than a 4th round pick. So it has to be something other than that that's keeping him from getting selected. The tribe, you're a part of Raider Nation, man. You're a Raider brother, so I love you, man. But don't bury your head in the sand. There has to be a reason why he's still available. There has to be. Look, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Shedeur or anyone acting any type of way. You just got to be able to accept the consequences. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy, my neighbor is so racist. He says this, this, and that." And I'm like, you know what, dude? I don't mind when people are racist. At least I know. Like, do it to my face. If that's how you feel, do it to my face. I'm fine with that. You know, if you're gonna be arrogant, if you're gonna be overconfident, if you're gonna be all these things, show it to me now so I know what I'm getting. But you gotta accept the consequences, right? What's that whole freedom of speech thing? Yeah, freedom of speech, but you gotta be able to take the consequences too, right? I'm gonna stop hammering on him. I'm gonna stop hammering because look, just like Suge Knight said, if you don't want the quarterback's dad all up in the practices, in the meetings, dancing, come on down to death row. Because look, is the package of Shedeur and Deion going to be too much as a developmental backup quarterback? What is the difference? Remember, we talked about net positive the last few days? What is the net positive, right? What is the net positive of getting this person now or getting a player like him, later on down the line? What's the net positive of a backup developmental quarterback if he comes with all this baggage that presumably there is? I think we've already seen it with Prime. I don't know what's going on with Shedeur. I haven't talked to him directly, but it's a big, huge slice of humble pie, man. Bro, he's already interfering, dude. You didn't hear him this entire process. I like this debate, but I think you're overlooking a few things, and that's fine. I don't hate Deion as a person. I think what he did in turning around 2 programs is great. What he did to Jackson State, the way he left them, man, they're balling over there now. Colorado, I thought it was a little bit iffy because it wasn't like what Harbaugh did with Stanford. He took all the same players and made them better. Deion just went to Colorado and got a bunch of better players. So that turnaround there was a little, I thought it was a little bit overinflated. But I love Deion as a commentator. When he was on NFL Network, he was one of my favorite dudes. One of my favorite Deion quotes during the combine, somebody asked him, how many teams this year need a corner? And he said, everybody. Everybody needs corners every year. And he's right. His delivery may be a little bit harsh and direct and come off brash because he's a DB and he wants to talk up the position. But he's right. I don't have a problem with Deion Sanders acting the way he does because he's Deion Sanders, a first ballot top level, right? He's on the top floor. He's on the penthouse suite. There's different floors, right? When it comes to the Hall of Fame, he's at the very top. You can act like that, but don't do that to your kid, man. Don't do that to your kid, bro. Because when you start being brash like that, and it's not you that has to cash the check, because right now Shedeur Sanders is cashing the check that Deion Sanders wrote. And it's not me assuming that Deion is going to be all in the mix. Deion said so. He said so himself. He said, I think a lot of these teams are scared away because the kid's daddy knows football, and he's gonna have an opinion. Those are his words, man. Probably must have pissed some people off royally. But look, here's the deal. Shedeur Sanders is going to get drafted. He will get drafted. And when he does, no one's going to give two craps what the last name on the back of his jersey is. What does he do on the field? What does he do in the meeting room? What does he do in the weight room? How good of a teammate is he? How hard does he study? Does he keep his nose clean? That's what's going to matter. And that's good, because it's the ultimate meritocracy in the NFL. If you can play, you're going to be out there playing. If you can't, then you won't. Do guys slip through the cracks? Sure, but they don't slip through the cracks forever. I agree. Tribe. I said so myself. Didn't I say that myself? I said his play is better than a 4th round pick. I said that before you said it. But is he a starting quarterback? Are you getting a starting quarterback right now? Or do you see more high-end backup developmental quarterback? If he's a developmental quarterback, why deal with all the other nonsense? I don't know. And I agree, men are supposed to be men. And a lot of these men in these franchises that haven't picked him or don't want to pick him because of some stuff that's not on the field, they're looking after their jobs because they don't want to deal with this nonsense. That's how I feel about it. If I had a couple of guys up for a job and the guy that was maybe a little bit better than the other guy had some attitude issues, I'm just saying for this example, the guy had, I don't want to deal with attitude issues. I'll coach up the other guy. I don't want attitude issues. I don't want that nonsense. I don't want that around me. Okay, enough of the poor and fortunate Sanders family. And let's start talking a little bit more about the soon-to-be prosperous Raider Nation. Because I do love the picks that we've made so far. Ashton Jeanty, solid. What did I tell you guys before the draft? Those guys have been following me. What did I tell you? Bro, you ain't lying. Hey, I'll tell you something right now. I wouldn't have minded if we took him in like 98 or 99. I wouldn't have minded. I wouldn't have minded if we took him then. Hell, we got the 5th pick coming up in the 108, right? What pick is that overall? Let's see what we got cracking here. In round 4, we have wait for it. We have the 6th pick again. Okay. So if we get Shedeur at 108, I'm fine. I'm good with that. That's where he should be picked or whatever. You're not taking a premium pick. This 3rd day, this is when you get this 3rd day is what's your flavor. Because the guy could easily go 4th round, 5th round, 6th round. It doesn't matter. Once you hit the 3rd day. But I'll tell you something right now. I'm very, very impressed by what we've done. We traded, for those guys who just joined, we traded back twice. And this is my thoughts, okay? If you heard already, just forgive me. But this is my thoughts. Tribe, you got it, baby. It was dope. Because I'll tell you something right now. I'm going to call him Beck because I don't know how to say his name. But Jack Beck is like Puka Nacua light. Now, does he have to be Puka Nacua? No, but that's how he plays. Sharp routes, great hands, good after the catch, great at 50-50 balls, an amazing blocker. If you want to help your run game, guess what? When you get those 40, 50, 60-yard runs, guess what happens? That means your wide receivers blocked too. We traded back twice, basically got 2 free players, still got a stud receiver, and we got I think one of the steals in the secondary. Darian Porter, this kid, is it Besh? Okay, I guess it is Besh. All right. So Jack Besh, I did a little bit of work on him only because he was mocked to us. A couple of guys mocked him to us. So I said, you know what? Let me take a look at this guy. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. He made that catch at the end. Unfortunately, yeah, his brother was killed on New Year's Day in that just idiotic event when that guy ran a bunch of people down on Bourbon Street, which is a tragedy. But look, we get a receiver that can do multiple things. We're basically getting a young, what the hell's his name? See, now you got me all flipped around here. Jacoby Myers. Let me know if this sounds familiar. He's not super fast, but he's quick. He's a good route runner. He's got great hands. He blocks. He gets upfield. Good at contested catches. That sound familiar? It sounds familiar to me. It sounds like Jacoby Myers. So we got two of those guys who are out there, hard-nosed, versatile, smart, good teammates, good people. That's what we said we wanted. I like that. I like that. Larry Fitzgerald. I think Larry Fitzgerald was a little bit more dynamic a player. I think he was a little bit taller, I think, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit faster. But as far as the technician, the hands, the blocking, the teammates, the great teammates, yeah, I can see that. Besh is a nice pick. You need these type of guys. Darian Porter is a guy that's played so little corner in his career. It's staggering that he's as good as he is. 2 years ago, in 2022, that was his last season as a wide receiver. In 2023, they moved him to corner. Obviously, he didn't play because he never played corner before, and he's in a big-time college program. Iowa State's a big program. So he played special teams. And he led the conference in block kicks with his 33.5-inch arms. Let's take a peek at this guy. 33.125-inch arms, 6'3". Bro, what are we doing here? Are we trying to win games here? I think we are. Because 6'3", 195, 33.125-inch arms, a 340. He's got burst, a 149, a sub 1.5 10-yard split, a sub 1.5 10-yard split, almost 11-inch broad jump, a 4-second shuttle. Are you kidding me? This dude is just a fast. He's a 6'3" fast twitch muscle is what he is. Plus, Pete Carroll just happens to have one of the best records of getting these types of players and making them into big-time corners. I don't know, man. It sounds good to me. Put him out there, put him in a position to succeed. Put him out there in a cover 2 or cover 3. Put him on the outside with some help over the top on, like, let's say, a cover 4, where he can read the quarterback and he can break. Sounds good to me. On top of that, we got 2 free picks, bro. We got 2 free picks. These offensive linemen, let's take a look at these guys. Oh God. 6'5", 315. A little bit shorter arms, but that's why he's going to be a guard. Dude, he scored a 91 as overall athleticism. That's third in the entire draft among guards. A 5'1", 40 at 6'5", 3+. That's pretty good. 34-inch vertical jump at 300 change. Over a 9-inch broad jump at over 300 pounds and 6'5". A 4.49 20-yard shuttle at that size. Woo! This kid is what we're looking for. This kid is what we're looking for in a swing guard, guy that can play some tackle, maybe a little bit. But ultimately, you're looking at these guys and you're like, man, where do they fit? And there's no like question where these guys fit. He fits squarely in the middle of this offensive line. And then you get Charles Grant. Charles Grant's the guy that I highlighted earlier in the whole mock draft process as a guy that you can maybe take a look at. 6'5", 310. Got to put a little bit of weight on. Dude, like 10.5-inch hands, over almost 35-inch arms, 34 3/4-inch arms. Dude's massive. He went to the Senior Bowl where he finally played against other top prospects, and he was good. He didn't hold his own. He wasn't like, all right, he belongs. No, he did good. Yeah, man. I feel you, Tribe. Because look, there's a lot of guys out there still that got a little bit of speed on them. We can do that. But look, if you guys heard me going in through the draft process, what did we talk about? I said there's super depth at running back, in the interior offensive line, in the defensive line, and there's some in the wide receiver and on tight end H-back as well. A lot of depth. So we hit a couple of those already, but man, I say we get another running back with as good as these running backs are still left on the board, bro. Where's my best available? Where's my best available, bro? My God. Prospects, position, running back. Let's see. Status, undrafted. Dylan Sampson is still available, guys. Dylan Sampson is still out there. Bashal Tootin from Vatek. I did a video on Bashal Tootin. I don't know if you guys saw that. Jordan James, I did a video on him too. Cam Scadaboo is still out there. Dude, Woody Marks from SC. That dude can do everything too. Jaden Blue from Texas, he's still out there. LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, he's still out there. Brashard Smith, the converted wide receiver to running back, he's still out there. Devin Neal from Kansas, Ollie Gordon the second. If Ollie Gordon would have come out last year, he'd have already been gone. DJ Giddens from Kansas State. Khalil Mullins from Michigan, the freaking battering ram. Dude, there's some freaking top-notch running backs still available, guys. Man, I'm getting a little hot under the collar here. Let's see what we got going down here. I'm gonna go ahead and share this screen with you guys because I'm a nice guy. All right. Look at this. Don't worry about the grade. The grade, don't worry about that because nobody knows, okay? Unless you're like a top level talent. These guys are all in the 6s. Nobody, you're not gonna be able to tell. But dude, there's a lot of guys. Look at these guys. These are all guys. Trevor Etienne, I didn't even see him. He's still available. Who's this guy? Lon Larson. Is he like a hacker that just put himself in there? Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks is like third in college football in the last 2 years on all-purpose yards. What are we talking about here? Kyle Monangai. Dude. Jaquindon Jackson, the converted quarterback. There's some dogs out there still, y'all. There are some dogs out there. I'm telling you. Let's see what we got on the defensive line. Actually, let's take a look at cornerback because I still think we need one more corner. Why is Dorian Strong there? We already picked him up. Zy Alexander, Ja Frazier. If you want to take a look at Ja Frazier, let me know if this doesn't look like a Pete Carroll corner. 6'3", 186, almost 33-inch arms. 4'3", 640. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar, y'all? I think Ja Frazier would be a great pick out of Texas San Antonio. What do you guys think? This looks like a Pete Carroll corner that if we get him with one of our 6th-round picks, people are going to be like, damn, Ja Frazier's still out there? Let's take a look at him. Ja Frazier is 6'3". Ja Frazier around a 4'3", 40. Ja Frazier has 33-inch arms? Yeah. He does. What else we got out here in the corners? Bilal Cohn, all these guys in the same. Zy Alexander, Ja Frazier, Bilal Cohn. These are all guys that I highlighted. Look at Bilal Cohn. Check out Bilal Cohn's measurables. Let me know if this looks familiar too. 6'1", 190, 31-inch arms basically. 4'4", 40. Yep, it's about right. That's what he's looking for, man. That's what he's looking for. There's some dudes out there still. I like Kobe Bryant. He's a little shorter, but I like Kobe Bryant out of Kansas too. All right, let's take a look at what else we got. Defensive tackle. You guys are going to be surprised at this. You guys are going to be surprised at this. When I look, let's show you. Joshua Farmer is still out there. Look at all these guys. These are 4th-round guys. Look. Let's take a peek. Joshua Farmer is out there still. Cam Jackson. JJ Pegues. Deion Walker. This guy is a freaking beast. Look at Deion Walker. Let's take a look at him for a second. You want to have him on the inside? 6'7", 330 pounds. 34-inch arms. Look at his freaking hand size. He's got catcher's mitts for hands. The only thing with him is his stamina isn't there. He only plays a certain amount of downs, but he's not a pass rusher. He's a run stuffer. You imagine a 6'7", 330-pound tackle eating up blocks. You don't think Devin White can run around and make tackles? There's a lot of players available. I did the work, guys. I know a lot of you have done the work too. And I freaking dug deep. And there's guys like Deion Walker out there still available. Any other draft that wasn't as deep at defensive tackle, Deion Walker would have been gone already. He would have been gone already. Deion Walker is a stud. He's a stud for 15, 20 plays a game. But that's fine. You got a short yardage play. You got a maybe first down here and there to spell a guy, put him in there. You're good. Look at Joshua Farmer. Let's take a look at Joshua Farmer. 6'3", 300, right? Look at 35-inch arms. You think he could get his hands on a guard and shuck him to the side? Strong. 35-inch arms and 26 reps. That's good, man. With arms that long, we'll get there. Lurker, we'll get there. I see you working. There's a couple guys I like at linebacker. We'll get there. But man, look at this dude. Pecuse, look at him. He's only 6'2", 300 pounds, but dude, look at this guy. Put on some tape. Find some tape of this dude. Tell me this guy isn't a beast. Aeneas Peebles is still out there. Aeneas Peebles is a freaking stud. He's a little shorter, but this dude's a wrecking ball. Where's my guy Tonka? Tonka Hemingway. I think he's from South Carolina. I like him just because of his name right here. Tonka Hemingway. 6'3" is a little bit light in the pants. 6'3", but 33-inch arms. He's the most athletic defensive tackle. What does that say? Combined defensive tackle rank in athleticism. First. Dude, 280-something pounds. He had a sub 4.5 shuttle. For me, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, the shuttle, the 20-yard shuttle is way more important than the 40-yard dash. My best bud's name is Tonka. Tonka, yeah, man. My buddy's he had a blue pit bull. He named him Tonka. R.I.P. Tonka. Not necessarily, man. I don't necessarily think that's too light. He can still put on some weight because he's not so much concerned with long speed. I get what you're saying, but I really like his athleticism at that size. Maybe we can get him to 300 and still keep his athleticism, but man, Tonka Hemingway would be a steal. I don't know why he's rated so low. He would be a steal this late in the draft. I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, how? Nasir Stackhouse is still there. 6'4", 320. He's not super athletic, but this dude is a space eater. Let me show you a guy that, hey, we don't need them all to be pass rushers, right? We don't need them all to be pass rushers. But check this out. Chenzo, check this out, bro. You want somebody? You want somebody that's a little bit bigger? How about this guy? You like this guy? Yaya Black? 6'6", 3'4", almost 340, 335, 35-inch arms. Put him at D tackle. Let him eat up some blocks. What do you think? There's a lot of good players available, man. There's a lot of good players available. And players at positions of need. I just gave you guys, what, 4 or 5 corners that are available. I just gave you, what, maybe 5 or 6 defensive linemen. There's more, but I'm just going about 5 or 6 of them. Oh, I don't want to touch Watson, bro. Watson's way too out of shape. He's way too big. How many reps for Black? I don't think he has his bench reps up. He didn't do the bench. He's not super athletic, but I don't give a crap. At 6'6", 340, you're good with me. Yeah, Watson's just way too big, bro. I don't know. I can't do that. Watson's way too big. We got Farmer. I mean, even Cam Jackson. I don't know. He's, for his size, you would think that he'd be a lot more athletic than he is, but he's okay. I like him too. I wouldn't mind him. He's a little bit more athletic, I think. His athleticism score is even worse than Yaya Black's. And Yaya Black is a little bit bigger. But he's got violent hands. He's quick. Look at these guys, man. There's a lot of good players out there. Yeah, Watson from Florida. That guy's way too big, bro. Even I got to put the line somewhere. Let's see where he is. Yeah, he's way down. There he is, Desmond Watson. 6'5", 460, bro. 465. Bro, I don't know, man. He didn't even test. If you can stash them, and you can get them in the 360 range, I think you may have something there. Okay, we looked at corner. We looked at D tackle. We got a couple edge. Let's look at a couple because there's still some edge rushers. I grouped together edge rusher and defensive lineman. Jack Sawyer, Braden Swinson, Kyle Kennard, David Walker. David Walker is going to be a steal for somebody. David Walker is not very tall, but I did a video on David Walker. Everywhere he's gone, he's been successful. He goes to the Senior Bowl. Guess what happens? Game wrecker. Look at how long this fool's arms are. Yeah, he's not tall, but look at how long his arms are. At 6'1", they're almost 32 inches. That's 6'1". Not bad. Tyler Barron, okay. Jared Ivey. Jared Ivey is like, he's like a Princely freaking knockoff. Him and Princely were like the same. 6'6", 275. What else we got? Who else did I like out of these guys? Fadale Diggs, Syracuse. That's another guy that I liked. A little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, but 6'4", long arms. 4'5", 40. 1'6", 10 split. What do we not like about that? What do we like? We like that, right? Look at the measurables. 4'5", 1'6" split, 6'4", 250, almost 260, 30, almost 33.5-inch arms. We like that, right? Okay, so I'm giving you a lot of defensive linemen, give you a lot of corners. Let's take a look. Since you guys love linebackers, let's take a look at some linebackers. I like Danny Stutzman. Danny Stutzman is actually more of a hybrid player. Danny Stutzman can also be like a safety type. But I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's very active. He's a really good tackler. Chris Paul still available out of Mississippi. Jeffrey Bates, dude. Is it Besa? Is it Bassa? Whew. Tackling machine. Jack Kaiser's still out there. Here's your boy Teddy Buchanan still out there. Teddy Buchanan played for what, Sac State or something like that. I think he played for Sac State, and then he went to Cal and just got better. Look at his measurable: 6'2", almost 235, 4'6", 159 split, 26 reps. There's some guys out there, man. There's definitely some guys out there. Jay Higgins. I think Jay Higgins is getting a raw deal, dude. I think Jay Higgins is much better than people are giving him credit for. He's a little bit smaller, and if you're going to be that small, you better be a whole lot faster than 4'8". But I think he plays a lot faster than that. I think he plays a lot faster than that. Hey, Tribe, much love, man. Much appreciated. That's what's keeping Higgins on the board is his 40 time. I just think he plays faster than that. Look at his split. His split he has a 1.6 split. I think he plays faster than a 4.8. I think that's the problem with Higgins. Want to take a look at some offense? See what else is available here. Quarterback. Okay, why not? Why not? Shedeur, Quinn Ewers. I haven't seen us tied to McCord, Leonard. Will Howard. I've seen us tied to Will Howard. Also, where's that kid? Cam Miller. I've seen us tied to him as well. Those are the guys that I've seen that we were tied to. So about 4 or 5 guys. There's Cam Miller, 1. Will Howard, 2. Quinn Ewers, 3. Shedeur Sanders, 4. Those are the guys that I've known that we've talked to and been tied to. Okay, let's take a look at some receivers. Isaiah Bond, if he didn't freaking choke anybody, I think he would have been gone already. Nick Nash, bro. Okay, let me tell you something right now. Jalen Royals, I don't know how he's still available. Nick Nash, he's a late round sleeper. He was a former quarterback, but this dude is just nothing but productive. Elike Yomanor from Stanford, this dude is like a more physical Debo Samuel. Let's take a look at him. 6'2", 200, 4'4", 40. He went full Moses Malone on him. He went faux. Huge hands, 10-inch hands. Steal. Elike Yomanor would be a steal in the 4th round. Nick Nash, we can get him with one of our 6th round picks. Let's take a look at Nick Nash. 6'2.5", 200, 4'5", 40. Look at his production. Where was his production last year? First team All-American. 16 receiving touchdowns, 1,300 yards, 104 receptions in 12 games. Juan has a question. As a backup, is Will Howard better than Aiden O'Connell because he knows the Chip Kelly offense? Yes, there's that. Also, he is more athletic than Aiden O'Connell. And if you have a backup quarterback, you don't want to have a backup quarterback that you want to have to keep on paying. So Aiden O'Connell is eventually going to have to get paid because his rookie contract is going to be up. Right? That makes sense. He's going to be his 4th year coming up. Is it? Is it the 4th year? 3rd year. So when you get a Will Howard in instead of an Aiden O'Connell, you're getting a guy that you feel more comfortable with as far as you start the clock over and you don't have to pay that position, number one. Number two, you feel more comfortable with him because he knows your offense. You know he's going to be able to run it properly. And number three, he is more athletic and can do everything. You don't want to put a quarterback in there in your Chip Kelly offense that can run the entire offense. You want to make sure that he can run everything. We should get Jalen Royals or Will Howard or Cam Miller or Cal McCord or Shedeur Sanders. I like Jalen Royals. I like him a lot. I think it's a really good pick if we get him. I like Will Howard too. We have 2 4th-round picks, so we can get him with one of those. I like Cam Miller. Cam Miller, we can get him late. We can get him with our 7th-round pick. He'll still be out there. Cal McCord is nice. Shedeur Sanders, if he after this point, Shedeur Sanders, where I'm fine with. Because you're not giving him a ton of money. Let's go back here. What else we got on receiver? Because we got a couple more good ones out there. Isaiah Bond, I think, just screwed himself. You can't be slapping chicks around. Tez Johnson's a burner. Dude, Xavier Restrepo running a 4.8 40 as a receiver. Oof. Talk about career suicida. Let's take a look at some. Just for giggles. Let's see what we got at the guards. Oh. Mimbo, Frazier. Bryce Cable, dude. Oof. Joshua Gray. There's some dudes out there still. Garrett Dellinger. These are all guys that I've highlighted already. These are all really top-level guys. Let's see if some tackles are out there. Cam Williams is out there. Chase Lunt is out there. Jack Nelson from Wisconsin. Cornelius from Oregon is there still. Carson Vincent. If he's available, Carson Vincent If this guy's available in the 7th round, I just say we take him, even though we already got a couple of offensive linemen. Look at this dude, 6'7", 314, 34.5-inch arms, 10.25-inch hands. Almost a 5 flat 40 at that size. Good movement skills. All right, y'all. Chenzo. Besh runs 4.55. I didn't get that pick. Well, Besh is also a really good route runner. He doesn't drop passes, has great hands. He's an excellent blocker. He's excellent in 50-50 catches and a good red zone target also after the catch. He's basically like a Puka Nacua type player. Puka Nacua is not going to wow you with his physical skills, but his route running ability, his hands, his catch radius, also his ability to get up the field. That's Jack Besh. That's who he is. You're going to love him. Trust me, you're going to love him. Yeah, but what if we have two? Jacoby had 1,000 yards last year, and he wasn't even the primary target, and he had 1,000 yards. What if we got two of those guys that can run routes, that are great hands, that can block, good at 50-50 contested catches, good in the red zone, good at getting up the field? Thanks, Kev. I appreciate it. Cable Do was nice. All right, guys, did it over an hour for you guys. I'm much appreciated. Let's see here. I had Jack Besh on my personal draft board for the Raiders. He's a great wide receiver, good catching ability, great route runner, and playmaker abilities. Yeah, after the catch for sure. Guys, I appreciate your time, man. I really appreciate you guys jumping on with me. Make sure everyone, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel. Besides doing absolutely nothing, just watching the video, you know I always appreciate that, guys. If you guys want to be a part of the community, man, just subscribe. That's all I ask. We got a great discussion here. Me and the tribe, we had a disagreement on something. We talked it out civilly, right? We were able to talk it out. I don't have a problem. You guys come on here, don't agree with me. That's okay. We'll talk it out. If I'm wrong, I'll come here and say, yeah, I messed up. This guy sucks. I screwed up. I do it all the time. I'm not perfect. Close, but not perfect. All right, guys, that's my time for today. I appreciate you all. Any last goodbyes? Yeah, Porter was a great get, man. All right, y'all. That's my time for tonight. Hey, bright and early tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'm not going to be on. I'm going to be on after the draft is over. Okay. But if you want to tweet at me or whatever during them, you can hit me up on Twitter. Same thing, Raiders versus the World, or on Instagram, Raiders versus the World. Guys, you guys are amazing, man. You guys are great. It's all about you guys. This is all for you. It's all Raider Nation. Because when we come in here, like we just did earlier today, me and the tribe, man, I appreciate you, tribe. We come in here, we don't agree, but we talk it out. Because guess what happens? When we leave here, it's everyone against us because Raiders versus the world, and that's just like we like it. All right, guys, that's my time for tonight. Until next time, everybody, peace.